Hello everyone and welcome back to Monsters of the Past. As always, I'm your host Mr.G, and today we're talking about our fourth bird in a row. Don't worry though, I've checked, this is the last bird in the series, so we won't be doing any more birds after this. Anyway, let's just get through this final bird. It's the flightless New Zealand bird, the giant moa. The giant moa's real name is Dinornis, which means terrible bird. It was a member of the Dinorthidae family, which is literally just the moa family. It was an herbivore that lived from the Miocene to only a few hundred years ago, and it was found in New Zealand. Also, before we continue, I just want to cover my tracks a bit. In last video, I accidentally said that the Haast eagle lived in Australia, but it actually lived in New Zealand with the moas. Yeah, I know that that could have been interpreted as Australia being the continent. That includes New Zealand, so it wouldn't have been that bad, but I just wanted to clear that up. Giant moas were an example of sexually dimorphic animals, with females being significantly bigger than the males. While the males were only slightly bigger than humans, being roughly 6 feet tall, the females could reach heights of up to 10 feet tall. In fact, female giant moas are a candidate for the largest birds ever, only being challenged by the Madagascarian elephant bird in terms of size. Moas were ratites, which is the group that includes ostriches and emus, with DNA testing revealing that their closest living relatives are the South American birds known as the tinamus, which is what you see on screen right now. Interestingly enough, moas completely lacked wings. They didn't even have vestigial wings like the kiwi. They just straight up didn't have wings, as evidenced by the fact that their skeletons don't have any wing bones. Despite their large size, moas were not invincible, being preyed upon primarily by the previously mentioned Haast eagle. Moas were a pretty recent extinction, only going extinct a couple hundred years ago as when early settlers overhunted them. Luckily, though, moas are on the list of animals that could be potentially revived through cloning. In this case, moa DNA has been found inside of a foot that still had meat in it. If the moa is revived, then the carrier would most likely be the emu. Alright, let's look at the card. Now, this card has an interesting error. Its species name given is Dinornis giganteus. The problem here is that this scientific name comes from the time when the giant moa was a single species. However, nowadays the giant moa has been split into two different species, the North Island and the South Island moas, and neither of them have this name anymore, because giganteus has been retired as a species name. Other than that, though, I couldn't find any errors on this card, so I give it a 9 out of 10. Now, normally this would be about where I talk about the moa's appearances in pop culture, but the only non-documentary appearance I could find is... I can't believe I'm saying this, because this is probably the stupidest non-documentary work I've ever found an animal from this series in. But, just stick with me. The only non-documentary appearance from the giant moa I could find is in a Land Before Time PC game where an image of it appears during one of the mini-games. I don't know what's sadder, the fact that the moas barely appear in pop culture, or the fact that the only appearance I could find is such a fleeting and almost non-existent appearance. Anyway, that's all for this episode of Monsters of the Past. Join me next time when we go back to Pterosaurus for the fourth and final time. Bye!